Live from inside Porsche, Colorado Springs, it's the First Dibs podcast with our hosts, John Deisty and Justin Underwood. Buckle up and let's go for a ride.
Well, as everybody can see, John's not here tonight. Or actually, if you're tuning in for the first time, this could be John.
Lost a couple feet in height and lost a couple inches in hair.
So welcome back to the First Dibs podcast from inside Porsche, Colorado Springs. My name is Justin, and I've got a special guest tonight, Jason. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you for having me. I'm just a guy who showed up outside of the door, knocking on the glass, asking for some barbecue.
Right, yeah.
He was nice enough to let me in and oblige.
For sure, yeah. Not quite. So Jason is a friend. Jason's been on the show before. Jason's part of a umbrella group, is the way that I look at it, Colorado Cars and Coffee. Mm-hmm. You do the Garage Report. You do the digital... mailer newsletter, and then now your newest venture with your buddy Ryan, that's also part of the newsletter. You're doing Downshift, the podcast that's also on YouTube.
That's right. Yeah, we are very specifically, we chose weekends to not conflict with your show here. But yeah, that is the latest in Steve's media empire, which includes Colorado Cars and Coffee, Shift Magazine, and now we have our own YouTube channel, podcast, Downshift. And yeah, we're once a month right now, but eventually we might get to a point where we do bi-monthly to kind of sync up with the events newsletter. That really, all of this evolved out of the events newsletter because my co-host Ryan Haney, Beretta Ryan,
right?
He literally has all the Berettas, probably 26% of all Berettas ever produced. He owns are registered in at his name. No, he's a real Beretta enthusiast. But he and I had a long time. For a long time we had been talking about, you know, we have all this content that goes into the newsletter, and we had all these other ideas for additional content and perhaps a second newsletter. But the more we talked about it, we thought, oh, this would actually make for a really good show. Mm-hmm. And it would be fun to kind of, you know, banter out together and go through some of these things. So whoever watches it might find some entertainment value, probably very little informational value.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That is very much like this show. So that's good. So there's a couple of topics that I definitely want to cover tonight, and there's obviously some discussion that we're going to have that we kind of started before the show, but some, as far as news, like how we normally get the show started, would be fresh arrivals, fresh inventory that's been traded in. What's kind of funny about this past week, very good. I love repping the colors there. That's awesome.
Got the shirt.
The First Dibs podcast t-shirt on. This week's been very busy, in kind of a weird twist of ways. It's been just as much, if not more so, out-of-state business. And so the trades haven't really been trickling in. Everything's been going out, which, I mean, that's what we're in the business of. But at the same time, we do like people to trade cars, and certainly out there, trying to buy cars all the time. So I don't really have a new car that came to mind as far as to talk about that's, that would be mentioned, on the show, so to speak. But in a weird twist, there is some big news for the dealership and for just the show in general. So I got to surprise some people just the other day with this, because this is very, very recent. So we now have a new partnership with Colorado Karting Circuit. The First Dibs podcast, we're proud sponsors. They have a scholarship program where they award so many kids each year, which this is their first year of doing it. Scholarship programs include things like race entry fees, a couple sets of tires, the platinum winner that we'll see here tonight, hopefully it shows up, gets a rain suit, which is kind of a big deal. These awesome. Are all young people, racers in the karting community that submitted applications. They wrote, letters on why they should be accepted or considered for a scholarship program. And I don't remember off the top of my head how many entered. I think it was around 17 kids that entered the scholarship program, and they wound up narrowing it down to 5 overall winners and 1 platinum winner. And I got to tell you, what these kids are winning for this scholarship program, it's not cheap.
Yep.
It's really cool stuff. And Todd Varney and was able to come together with our general manager Joe Brenner, and then there's Greg Welch. I mean, there's many people involved, but the First Dibs podcast, so John and myself were able to get involved with this scholarship side of things. And Porsche Colorado Springs is now the series sponsor for the Colorado Karting Circuit series, which is awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. So Porsche Colorado Springs is very much into the karting scene in Colorado. So you're going to see our name a lot, and definitely encourage people to get involved. Come watch these kids race because it is a lot of fun. Yeah. So it's CO Kart Circuit, I believe is the website, cokartcircuit.com for Colorado Karting Circuit. You can see the schedules and events, what's going on there and what they're doing for the community. And what Todd and Greg and Joe and now First Dibs podcast is doing with the karting community, I think is super fun. Actually, what I would like to try and do, I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but what I'd like to try and do is see if I can get a little video to play and if we can hear it at the same time. So if this works, great. If it doesn't work, I'm so sorry, but let's give this a shot real quick. Do you mind if we try and watch?
This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. I'm cranking up on the throttle, victory is mine. Show you the harder the battle, harder I fight. I've come too far to quit. Step back, I'm going in. I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made.
Congratulations, Connor.
Very cool. I have no idea if that played for the people out there watching or not. That's kind of funny.
So is this is the same karting organization that your son competes in?
So he's going to do both. So Porsche Colorado Springs is already the series sponsor for CKT, which is Colorado Karting Tour. Mm-hmm. And they travel around a little bit. They go to multiple tracks around Colorado. And then ironic, this year they're actually traveling all the way down to Amarillo. I think it's is it the Belgium F1 track, maybe? I forget which one it is, but anyway, Amarillo has a kart track down there that is to scale, an exact replica of an F1 track.
Wow.
I think it's Belgium. I could be wrong about that.
Spa Francorchamps.
Yeah. I think
Belgium?
Anyway, that sounds pretty cool, but I mean it's to scale, right? I mean, it's a perfect layout for karts, which will be a lot of fun to go.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. But no, this is CKC, Colorado Karting Circuit.
Okay.
And Colorado Karting Circuit to me, I think it's the premier track in Colorado. The facility is awesome. And the developers with it are continuing to grow it. As far as there's plans. I mean, you can look at them, when you go to the Welcome Center there to see the buildings, the structures, that they have planned to be put out there. And you're at the Centennial Airport, which is pretty awesome. So, I mean, that by itself is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So anyway, lots of practice days out there, which has been a ton of fun. And then we actually did end the Colorado Karting Tour series last year at CKC track, which that was a pretty amazing event. But anyway, I mean, everybody enjoys it out there. They've got fantastic rentals. They even have a rental race league that you can join. And I think they have plans, if they haven't done it already, but lights to where there will be night racing, at some point, which sounds pretty cool.
Action under the lights.
Yeah, exactly. So for the people that didn't see or couldn't hear, and apologize for my technical inabilities here, but there's a total of 5 scholarship winners. The kind of the number 5, 4, 3, and 2, they received free race entries, 2 sets of tires, 5 test and tune sessions. That's quite a bit.
Yeah,
that's quite a bit. I mean, 2 sets of tires alone, right there. That's it. That's an easy $500.
Right.
Right. Right off the bat. I think it's another 500 or so, or I could be off. But the test and tune sessions, and then race entry fees. I mean, awesome. You get to go for a day. But Ian Walker, congratulations. Cole Woodward, congratulations. Benjamin Highland, congratulations. And Chase Cranmore, congratulations for being part of the scholarship program. And then the platinum winner, free entry to all CKC races, 1-year membership. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I think it's about a $1,500 value just right there for the membership. 2 sets of Shinko tires, which Shinko is the tires that they're running out there for the series. It's a brand, and a rain suit. And that's a bigger deal than people would think about. But anyway, congratulations to the platinum winner, Connor Robbins. Super cool, really nice young gentleman. Definitely want to have him on the show.
Nice.
We'll get an interview with him here. So if
Good
he's
job,
watching,
Connor.
thank you so much, Connor, for submitting your entry. Definitely worth it.
Yeah.
That's like the big news for the First Dibs podcast. I think that's
big.
a lot. I think that's a pretty cool deal to be part of.
Yeah.
It's pretty special. And I don't think you saw it beforehand, but what I got to note about we're going in a little bit reverse order. Instead of being sponsored, we're sponsoring. So
You still need to be clear, though. You still need sponsors for this.
we
show.
still need sponsors. Yes.
So please.
One thing I forgot to do for you, Jason, is I didn't put up our monitor here. You can't see what's going on.
No. I have no idea.
Oh, but however, the people watching on YouTube, they did get to hear the video
good.
that played, which is awesome.
That's good. Better than dead air.
Right. So FPB Brandon 1, he asked what about a new GT Silver GTS? He's got a great point. Yes.
GTS is a great car.
We took in a pre-owned, mildly pre-owned 2024 911 GTS manual transmission in on trade.
That's Colin's car, right? Yeah. Because Colin got the GT3. He got the GT3 Touring.
Pretty amazing GTS. Yeah. No, congrats. Yeah, that's a good one. It's been a long week, so thank you for bringing that up. And then we got some questions from Steven that we'll get to. And then, FPP Brandon. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, congratulations to all. It is very, very cool for all of those winners.
Steve would probably also, Colorado Cars and Coffee, Steve would also probably want me to mention that Colorado Cars and Coffee also has a sponsorship program.
Yes.
Maybe not as robust as this sponsorship scholarship program, not sponsorship. Yeah, we also have a scholarship program that we are currently taking applications for. I don't remember what the address is off the top of my head, so Steve put that in the chat. But we do that as well.
Excellent. No, that's awesome. Other points of business, and then we'll get to our conversation, what we were kind of talking about before.
Yeah.
This is tomorrow. Here, it's next door at the Colorado Springs Power Sports Center. We're actually having a celebration of life for Shane Golden. We talked about him last week. Definitely a tragic loss to our community, to our family here. But tomorrow, Shane was really, really attached to the local Colorado Springs police, especially like the bike force. So they're actually going to have an honor ride just around the Motor City area. Nice. So it's open to the public, so people can start arriving around 10 o'clock tomorrow at Colorado Springs Power Sports to start things off. At about 10:20, there's actually going to be an escort, like a police escort, a ride around the Motor City area, and then winding up here by 11 o'clock, and then they will just basically people enjoy each other's time, company, reminisce stories, and I'm sure there'll be a few people that have some nice things to say about Shane and what he's done for the community, and some pretty good surprises kind of along the way. So we have no idea how many people will attend, but we've got feeling there's going to be a lot. Shane impacted a lot of people's lives in extremely positive ways. Yeah, I think there's going to be a pretty good surprise. Who knows? I think it's going to be people spilling out into the street to be part of this celebration of life for Shane. So anyway, we hope to see everybody here tomorrow for that. So yeah, from 10 into the afternoon. So anyway, we like to see you here.
A prescient reminder to just drive safe and watch out for motorcyclists, bicyclists.
Yes.
It's give those folks space and keep your, be situational awareness. Keep your situational awareness about you when you're driving, and know that other folks on the road don't have, 2 tons of steel around them and a crash structure. So,
Yep. Next weekend, I mean, normally we would talk about this next Friday. However, I don't really want to surprise people. We've kind of mentioned it briefly before, but Singer Vehicle Design is coming to the dealership. They're going to be here next week, and next Saturday, so a week from tomorrow, it's the 29th, is Singer Vehicle Design and Porsche Colorado Springs are having a Cars and Coffee event here at the dealership. It is completely open to the public. Singer has some of their own vehicles here to be displayed. I know that there's a Singer Classic, Singer DLS, and there's a new Singer Turbo Study that will be here for the event, which is super cool. Yeah. We're spoiled here at Porsche Colorado Springs just because we get to see Singer vehicles fairly often. I got to tell you, the Singer Classics artwork, absolute artwork.
Yes.
The DLS, we have a DLS that kind of lives here, somewhat permanently.
The yellow one.
And oh my gosh, now you take art and make it
Science.
Strong.
Yeah.
Right? What an impressive car that is. And I've had a sneak peek at the Turbo Study in person now, and I can guarantee you nobody will be disappointed in this car. It is really, really cool.
Yeah.
It is really, really cool. Actually, you know what? Do you want to see a little bit about what it might look like?
I think anyone who has a chance to see a Singer in person should take that opportunity, because they truly, to your point, they truly are artisanally crafted works of art.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And engineering.
Yeah.
Especially with the DLS and the
Oh my
Turbo
gosh.
Study, just on another level, engineering and craftsmanship wise. And it's, if, to quote Ferris Bueller, if you have the means, I highly recommend it.
Right.
Because they're exquisite.
I'm gonna flash up here real quick. Here is a photo. So on the screen, which normally I apologize that I don't have this up here tonight, but I've got an image of the Turbo Study, and I'm 99% certain that the photo of the Turbo Study that's here right now is the car that's here, that's going to be at the event. Which it's just this, I don't know the name of the color. It's just this amazing pearl yellow color is what it is. And then there's another one that people have kind of seen in photos. This is a black Turbo Study. That car itself is not here, but what a gorgeous image. And then I may as well just pop up, if I can, the actual kind of notice as far as what's happening. So if people were able to read it, but March 29th, I think from 10 to 1 is the intended plan for people to be here. I have no idea where the actual Cars and Coffee event is going to be, because we are somewhat space limited, but trust me, we will make room.
If you bring a Singer, they won't turn you away.
Right, yeah. And keep in mind, this is, it's Cars and Coffee, right? This is open to the public. You're not buying tickets. There's no price for admission. We want to see everybody come. We would love to see everybody come in their cool stuff. That's what makes it really, really fun. And the guys from Singer Vehicle Design that will be here, these are the people that make it work.
Will Rob Dickinson?
I'm pretty sure Rob will be here.
wow.
Yeah, Rob, believe it or not, really likes us, and he likes Colorado Springs.
See why he wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. I think on the Singer tour that they did here a few years ago, we gave him what was that car? I think we gave him a 75 911S. So clients were driving the Singer cars, and we gave him a 75 911S to drive for that event, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. And anyway, I think something about, he said, if he didn't already have whatever, like he wanted to buy that car, it was pretty cool. But those guys they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to talk to, and they're real people, which is very, very cool.
And it's cool because he's a car designer, head of a car company now, and he's a former rock star.
Yeah.
So to be both of those things, have both of those things in your life is pretty epic. To say, yes, I was a rock star, and yes, I had a car company.
Right.
That's pretty much the zenith of what most of us think of as success and coolness.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. And then the last little, it's not a point of business, but I just wanted to point out. So I got a couple different phone calls in the last couple weeks where it was outed. Porsche holds every month they hold what's called a company car auction sale. And what that means is that they've got a inventory of cars that are executive cars or Porsche Experience Center cars or you name it, right? I mean, it ranges, and it's every model of car, from electric Taycans to, in this case, GT3 RSs, and now this next Tuesday at the company car auction is a 911 ST that will be auctioned off. It's got just shy of 1,000 miles, and the thing is, a Porsche company car auction is not an open auction, right? It's not something you could just hop online. It's not like a bring a trailer type of auction. It's not even though it's hosted by Manheim, it's not open to any dealer that has a Manheim login. It is Porsche dealers only are the only people that are able to bid on these cars.
Okay.
And Porsche auctioned off a 911 ST for Red Cross not too long ago. And I forget what it wound up going for, but somewhere around $900,000 or something. Now, granted, they tied it to charity. And so there's going to be a little bit of a bump, for that kind of stuff. For good reason. This one, it's not tied. It's just part of the company car auction sale. So there's a lot of buzz. The phone calls I received are from people that heard about it, that learned that this is coming up, and are interested in the car. I've got a little bit of a bet. I don't have a bet going anyway. I just told them what I think the car is going to sell for.
So give us the deets. What's the spec? Do we know?
Yeah. I happen to have it right here. For not being prepared, I'm prepared for this one. So yes, it's a 2024 911 ST in gentian blue metallic. It has heritage design leather interior and black classic cognac interior.
Ooh.
Heritage design package 60 years of the 911, extended range fuel tank, front axle lift, parking sensors, park assist rear, chrono package Bose. Let's see, preparation for two-tone bucket seat, neck pad leather. Deletion of Heritage Design Motorsport decals, preparation for Heritage Design package, auto-dimming mirrors with integrated rain sensor, storage package, amber side markers, and it comes with its first year maintenance on the house. This one had a total MSRP of $325,050. Now, Jason, the car has 994 miles on it. I've seen a photo of it. It's beautiful. I mean, it's gentian blue is already an amazing blue, right? It's a great color. And then you pair it with that two-tone interior, the black and classic cognac, and full bucket seats.
Yeah. And you said graphic delete.
Ooh, correct.
So no graphics.
Right.
Oh, that is
bit of a sleeper. However, it does have the super cool wheels, like those diamond white, which those are, pardon my French, but no pun intended, those are sex on wheels. I mean, the wheels by themselves are worth it. I mean, they are worth it. I've never seen another wheel like it.
Yeah. That's a special
They are
car.
stunning. They are stunning. Wow. So
Jerry Seinfeld, you want this?
right.
If you're listening,
There's
Jerry.
going to be a bidding war. Yeah. I mean, I'm very, very curious to see what this car winds up selling for. I mean, I already have a pretty good idea of what the car would sell for out on the open marketplace right now. Mm-hmm. Now, when you have roughly 200 Porsche dealerships, roughly 200 Porsche dealerships able to bid on this car, there will be a handful of them fighting over it.
And you will be one of them.
We'll bid.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
To a number.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's definitely like a, cut it off, right? Point.
You
When
have
you're
to
in the
sell
moment
it.
though, and you can click that mouse button and it's not your money, right? It could be your job, but no, it's going to be kind of an exciting thing. It's run number 52. It's not even at the end of it. There's roughly 265 cars that are running that day. GT3 RSs, big stuff. I mean, really, really big stuff. It's going to be a pretty insane auction that's happening. I'm going to do my best. It goes really quick because it's a closed auction. The auctioneer is very fast and there's no dabbling, right? Okay. I mean, it's sale. I mean, it moves really, really fast.
Rapid fire.
They'll get through 260-ish cars. Not kidding. I'm going to guess they'll be done with the auction. It'll definitely be under an hour. I'm gonna estimate that it's gonna be somewhere around 47 minutes to get through. That's how fast it will go. It's really, really quick.
It's like
they don't mess around.
Yeah, it's like Barrett Jackson speed.
It's no, they're pumping them through. So, but obviously the ST is going to be an interesting one, and I'll be curious to see. I mean, if we get it. Heck yeah, score, right? That's awesome.
Could I trade my Audi TT for it?
You could trade it towards it, yes. Mm-hmm.
And my house.
Right? So, okay, I'm not expecting you to have, necessarily, maybe you do know a lot about the ST and what the market has been looking like, but if you were just just take a guess, I mean, if you just pull something, out of thin air, what will that car sell for?
Yes, let me put my market report brain on. I will say, I mean, it's got to be 850.
All right, 850.
It's got to be around 8 to 850.
Okay. All right, I'm going to write that down. My plan is, I'm going to watch, I'm going to see, I'm going to record it, and then I'll be able to report back on what it sells for. I would love to see some people that are watching right now,
guess.
put in what they think that this 911 ST will sell for. And again, it had a $325,000 MSRP, so $650 would be doubling the price and going up from there. And it is. Yeah. It's I don't know. I guess it might be on MSO, basically meaning it's like it's not a new car, but maybe you would be the first owner. I don't that part. I don't know. I couldn't promise that.
Oh, first titled owner, registered owner.
Right. Yeah. People are still bringing up the 914 online. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting that that's something coming up. And so next weekend, I'll be able to report back on that one.
Yeah. That is.
So real quick, Stephen H, which model? You'll like these. Steven has great questions. Which model, 959, Carrera GT, or 918, had the largest influence in the evolution of Porsche's street cars?
Evolution of their street car.
That's a great question, Steven.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Stephen H, actually, so we just read his question. He's saying 730K.
He's saying 730. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we're getting some guesses in. Price is Right rules. Mm-hmm. Whoever's the closest. I'm actually going to say to Stephen H's question about which of those three cars had the most influence on the Porsche road cars of today.
Yes.
I'm actually going to say 918 because it was a hybrid. And I think the way that the 992.2s are going, everything is hybrid, right? So I think obviously Taycan, Macan, all EVs now. I'm going to say that was, the halo car for the technology that then kind of trickled down into what they're producing now as far as EVs and hybrid 911s. Mm-hmm. That would be my answer.
Okay. That's good. I mean, I don't think there's a wrong answer. I would say the 959 had the most influence, the largest amount of influence on the evolution of Porsche's street cars. I mean, it's going back a ways, but the 959 is one of those crazy, mysterious creatures that people are fascinated by, and sometimes they don't even understand why. So the 959, you're exactly right. Like the 918, things evolve into the daily street cars, right? You know, whether it's components or functionality. As I say, the price of admission to be the first is high, but all the stuff that's in that car is going to wind up being in the everyday street car. Well, the 959 is no different than that. The 959 had tire pressure monitoring, twin turbocharged, all-wheel drive. It had adjustable headlights, adjustable suspension.
Oh, yeah.
So it had like a PASM, like active suspension management, if you will. What else did it have?
Am I right in thinking that, or remembering, because my brain is pretty addled at this point, but am I right in thinking that the 959 all-wheel drive system was what evolved then into the, was it the 964 all-wheel drive system?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So essentially
Yep.
that all-wheel drive technology made its way into the Carrera 4 for the 964 generation.
And the Lunar Rover.
Wait, what? I didn't know about that.
The all-wheel drive system on the Lunar Rover is Porsche all-wheel drive.
No kidding.
Somebody's going to fact check me on that.
Yeah.
But you'll see that, yeah, Porsche all-wheel drive is the Lunar Rover.
Wow. So the Germans did get to the moon. We have conquered the moon with our all-wheel drive.
Yeah, and then there was a tariff on it. But no, I think that's a fantastic. But so the 959 being a supercar, you know, I guess, you know, as the Grand Tour guys, or maybe that was still the old one. What was the previous version?
Top Gear.
Top Gear. Yeah, maybe that's when Richard Hammond did his story about the kind of the world's first supercar in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a comfortable car, center lock wheels, like literally, like, I mean, is like the ignition key. Like there's an ignition key to pull the center cap off of the wheel so you could access the center lock wheel.
Super cool.
But you know, a lot of the things in that car are in what we're driving around every day, and not just Porsche cars. Like, I mean, just in cars in general, you know?
Yeah.
And it was very, very ahead of its time. Just a really, really cool car. Again, kind of space aged, you know, for the mid 80s. And then now, I mean, it's I wouldn't call it a portly pig, but now it's you know, it's a piece of history. It's a piece of automotive history. And that's how you appreciate that car today. I mean, still drive, you know, would still be an awesome car to drive around. But you know, the technology that they have with the all-wheel drive, and I mean, everything that's in that car, just where it's evolved to, is obviously night and day, you know, difference.
The turbo, it was like a variable vane turbo.
They had sequential turbochargers. It was kind of a small one that fed into a big one. So you would get turbo boost, you know, down low. And then as that one would spin up and create enough boost pressure, then you'd get punched in the back again. Which I think, I mean, if you just had it wide open throttle and left it down that time and experienced both rushes, it was, I mean, especially at that period, even today, it would be like, holy crap, you know, I mean, almost, that's a little off-putting, you know, but still a super fun factor for sure.
Have you driven a 959?
Yeah, but not like driven,
Oh,
you know,
just
I mean, just
puttered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
And it was kind of funny because the one that I've been in, it had sport seats put in it. So it's a comfort, tried to make into a sport version, and the seats were just like very difficult.
Yeah.
So Stephen H., always good questions. That's a great one.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yes.
Much better than the questions I ever ask on this show.
Right. And then Brandon, do you anticipate tariffs will have an impact on U.S. model MSRPs? You were talking about this with Lupe just before the show.
Yeah, we were discussing. Yeah, I was, because I had asked Lupe, one of the Porsche brand ambassadors and sales associates here, what you know, how business has been, what he's been, you know, experiencing, you know, business wise, and he said things have been quite busy, and you guys have been, you know, firing on all cylinders, as it were. And I was asking him, in his assessment of the situation, does he think that's due to people sort of thinking, oh, should we get in now while the getting's good ahead of potential tariffs coming for imported cars from Europe, and again ahead of potential economic downturn in the future, to say like, oh, I've got the money now and the car is this price now, and it, there's a lot of high possibility that it could be more in the future. So should I just get it now while the getting's good? And he said, quite possibly. He's gotten that vibe, and he's also gotten the vibe from people that they're not buying because they're holding money off and not spending right now in anticipation of future turmoil.
Sure. Yeah.
Trying to be very diplomatic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no, and you, during that conversation, you brought up a good point as far as, manufacturers adjusting their MSRP levels, during the year, how would they not, or how could they not?
They have to make profit. And
right.
If you're getting a tariff on top of what your old fixed cost was, you have to pass that to the consumer. You can't be in the business. You can't be a publicly traded company and be in the business of making a profit and not pass that additional cost onto the consumer.
Right.
So then, all of these cars, could potentially become 15-20% more expensive in several months.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. No, it's a possibility. Absolutely. I don't know which way it'll go. My own thought process on impacting MSRPs here in the States, I believe that there are some manufacturers that, yes, absolutely, they will make an adjustment. If there's tariffs that are put in place, they will make an adjustment just midstream, like almost right away. You'll see differences. And I think I said we've seen it. We saw Ford do it, back in just a year or two ago, where supposedly they were tired of dealers marking up cars. And so the same model year, the same car, the same model year, they increased their MSRPs by a pretty good margin.
Broncos and
those
sort of things.
Yeah. No, there was a number. I mean, we had cars getting traded here, and people's argument was, no, my MSRP was this much. Yeah, but the same, but you just bought it at the wrong time. Like, you bought it late in the year, versus buying it early in the year. It's the same truck.
MSRP and market price are not.
No, it's not the same thing. Yeah. However, I believe that there are other manufacturers that they will, lack of better terms, kind of absorb the increase of MSRP until the next model year. So I could see that potentially affecting some production, right? If there's these big tariffs put into place, and then the next model year would be an increase, and maybe the offset for that you wouldn't see on the face of it, but in the back end of it, where the parts, things like that, the MSRP for parts pricing may go through a drastic change, because I think it's I've been trying to listen to the Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, like recent. It's not recent. It's like a month ago or two now at this point. And for whatever reason, thinking about that, it popped up in my brain. I think Elon at some point in time says, car companies, they're not really making money selling cars. They're making money selling the parts.
Sure.
So I could see that. I could see a big adjustment on the parts side, but to keep cars attractive to where people are still buying them, less of an impact on the actual MSRP side of things. But I am not an economist.
Neither am I.
I'm not a CFO. I'm not an accountant. Right. I want to spend your money. So if you will enable me to do that, I will do a fine job.
So everyone bring your Carrera GTs in for the recall now before there's a surcharge on that.
Right. Yeah, on the services. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you got tires, suspension. Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into those.
Sure.
How many, out of curiosity, how many Carrera GTs have you seen come through your service department?
So far they've completed two. I think they'll wind up doing... I want to say 5. I think our service department will wind up doing 5, and it's just the owners are just kind of scheduling.
Sure.
It's kind of funny. One of them specifically said, "I don't want mine to be the first one."
Okay. You don't want new tires.
Well, our service and parts guys we've talked about this. They are the number one service and parts department in the country.
JD Power rated.
Arguably, they are the number, not just Porsche. They are arguably the number one service department in the country.
In the world.
They were smart enough with the Carrera GT campaign that was coming out was to keep asking about it, right? Keep asking, when is this coming out? When is this coming out? Lo and behold, we were the only dealership that kept asking about it over and over and over again. So we got a little bit of insight before the actual recall repair was announced, or at least the camp or the repair instructions, anyway. And what we didn't know leading up to that was the setup with the new tires that come with that recall. Specific tires made just for Carrera GTs. Come with anyway, they had enough suspension parts to do all the cars. They did not have enough tires. So that's where, hey, since you're the only guys that keep asking about it, this is going to be announced on this day or at approximately this time. And get on your game, though, because as soon as this is announced, you need to order the tires.
Yeah.
Order the tires before you do anything else. Order the tires.
Michelin.
Even before you do the suspension, order the tires.
Michelin's, right?
Yes. Michelin Pilot Sport PS4s or 2s or whatever they are now.
Carrera GT spec.
Yeah, specific. Yeah, for the car. And they were not kidding. It turned out they had something like 30 sets of tires in the world available. At the time when the actual, you could order stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we were able to secure 3 or 4 sets of tires. On day one.
Wow.
And so, for Carrera GT owners that are outside of our, area, I'm sorry. If you're still waiting on tires, I'm sorry, right? Our guys, they want to take care of our clients, and you could be one of them.
Fortunately, the Carrera GT is probably no one's daily driver.
Yeah, no, not me. Yeah, you're right. I don't think it's anybody's, but there's guys that would make it seem like it.
If it is your daily driver, you're awesome. And I want to be your friend.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. No, that was great. And I guess rolling back to Stephen H's, the Carrera GT, I don't know that it had really much influence on today's street cars.
No more
just,
V10.
It was that was a race car. That was a race car that was shelved, for several years. Actually, its model designation is the 980. So, if you think about that, right? So Porsche being an engineering company, and the model designations originally started out as project numbers, like Project 356. And granted, it's supposed to be 901, but it turned into 911.
Right.
Well,
because the French.
Yeah. So if you were to think about that from project numbers, that would be Project 980. Well, project, that Carrera GT or 980 came out in 2004, is in 04 and 05.
Yeah.
And the topic where we're headed is 986, 996. So Project 986 was released at least here in the US in 1997. So, 8 years, before the Carrera GT. Whereas in the Carrera GT, the project number was done way before the 986 or Boxster. The 986 is the first generation Boxster. So shelved, like I said, they built this crazy race car. They changed rules. They had to table it for a while. And then, Ferrari and Mercedes, are doing what they do. And everyone's going to release another supercar. And the smart guys at Porsche are like, damn it.
We have the V10?
Let's okay, here's how we're going to use this thing. Let's make a street car out of it.
Yeah. And what a street car.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then in Jeremy Clarkson's, he's like, this is it. This is perfect. What's next?
That's a German accent. Jeremy Clarkson's British.
Correct. Yeah. He was, I think in his Carrera GT video, he was imitating Germans. He's like, he said, but let's take a look at it from a British point of view.
It's the greatest car in the world.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Those are good topics. So, but where that leads us to is you started this before coming down here, is that you wanted to talk about 986s and 996s. And I think it was partially where they sit in the market, and are they undervalued? Was that the question?
Yeah, I don't even know what the question is anymore, Justin. So my dad, who was on the show last year in the summer, we were both on the show. We co-own this 997 Carrera 4. It's an 06, right? And we've got it, we've done a few little things, tasteful things to it, and really dialed it in well to the point where it's a great car and we love it. But we're at that point where we're thinking, maybe there's another experience that's worth having. And me personally, I've always had a thing for the 968. Or no,
Oh yeah, 968.
Yeah, 968. Yeah. I've always had a thing for the 968s. There's something about that long hood, sloped back, hatchback, front engine, transaxle, large displacement, 4-cylinder. That's always kind of spoken to me. It's quirky, it's unique, it's oddball for a Porsche, right? It's like it relatively rare, right? Only a few thousand were sold in the U.S. Now that they're eligible for import, you can get the ROW. People can bring in the ROW models, and there were several thousand more produced for the rest of the world. But there's something about those. I never really liked the 944s. The 928s are cool, but they're more of a GT car rather than a sports car. Something about the 968s always kind of spoke to me. And then my dad kind of, as we talk about cars pretty frequently, and he was saying, well, what about a 996 turbo? And that's always something, because I grew up in that era. I was in high school. I graduated in 2004. So I was, I remember from the 993 to the 996, right? I remember that transition. And I remember the 996 Turbo really being the only variant that I liked the looks of, as far as like any of the lower trim models they just looked a little lackluster in my opinion. And not hating on that. If that's your thing, that's cool. But
Right.
the turbos were always cool. And the more I learn about Porsche and about cars in general, the more I've come to understand that the Mezger engine really is a true thing, an engineering marvel, and a thing that is worth experiencing. And thinking about, the size of the 996 and thinking about that it has the all-wheel drive, I'm like, okay, that, because we already enjoy the Carrera 4. We enjoy having, a little more weight over the front axle and not being so rear heavy on the weight distribution and things like that. And thinking about the power levels and the twin turbos, and obviously it would have to be a stick. We're not interested in tips, but thinking just like, oh, maybe there's another experience. Like, we've had this experience for a few years. Maybe there's another experience that's worth having. I don't know. It's like, do we keep what we've got, or do we go in one of two directions? And given where the prices are in the market, for a car with a reasonable amount of miles and good condition, good maintenance history, and a good, an interesting color as well. It's like, well, we could kind of go in either direction. And I don't know, from a technical standpoint, like, what do you feel from your background and expertise and experience? What do you feel like which experience do you think is a more, it's highly subjective, I know, but like, what experience would you prefer? Say you've got a 968, coupe stick, you've got a 997.1 Carrera 4 stick, and then you've got a 996 turbo. Like, which way would you go, and what would you suggest we consider? What factors should we consider in our decision-making process?
Sure. No, absolutely. So for people kind of watching and listening, 968s are early 90s, early to mid 90s, front engine 4-cylinder. A lot of times people see them in a cabriolet form, and even more so, sometimes people get them confused with 944s. 944s were before they were before the 968. But the 968 was actually the car where they're naturally aspirated. However, they were I believe it's the introduction to Vario Cam.
Yeah.
And
right.
So the intake, as kind of a side effect of that, the intake is 104% efficient, which that's not possible necessarily. So, but
It's more than 100%
right,
efficient.
yeah, like a German engineer's head would explode if you told him that. And however, supposedly it is more efficient, so it is almost naturally supercharged when everything is running properly. Not that it has it's not boost pressure; it's just extremely efficient. Now 968s, they have a timing belt.
Yes.
They are a giant 4-cylinder, right?
3 liter. Yeah.
Incredibly torquey. Really, really fun that way.
I like torquey engines.
Yep. And they're a practical car. They would be like a 2+2, type configuration. They're awesome Porsche Club Track Day cars. Transaxle. I mean, they're weighted well. It is all Porsche. I mean, a 968 is front engine, all Porsche. Really, really great cars.
Because some of them, it was LSD was optional. It
Yes.
wasn't standard. Would you say LSD is a must-have
Yeah.
or not? It's a must-have.
It's a must-have.
You
Yeah.
have to have it. Okay.
That car may have had what's called ABD or braking differential.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is an electronic function, but ABD may have come out with 928s. I could be wrong about. I know ABD was a thing with 928s, but that's automatic braking differential, which is an electronic component to the limited slip. I don't know if 968s had that function or not, but it was like super, super early, traction control type features, that were
Right.
coming out. But 968s are great cars. To your point, yeah, they're a little bit rare. Just kind of a unique piece, and definitely a driver's car.
Yeah.
I would put the driving experience, believe it or not, more in line with like a Cayman than I would, as far as a modern type car.
Because it's pretty, is it pretty much 50-50?
Very well balanced
Yeah.
because of that transaxle. And the
Right.
transaxle, I mean, the engine's up front. The transmission, where you're shifting gears, is actually behind you. It's at the rear axle. It's not, the transmission isn't bolted to the engine. There's a torque tube that runs from the engine all the way back to the transmission of the car. So it enables the car to be balanced, better suspension setups, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's why it's all Porsche. It gets very technical,
Yeah.
really, really fun driving car.
But a lot of 911 guys would be like, what are you doing with a front engine?
Yeah. No, there would.
They'd be like, nah, it's not a...
And then the current car you said is a 997.1.
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
06.
Okay, yeah. So 997.1s are 2005 through 2008.
Yeah, because I
Seven?
think
Seven.
997.2 was
Started in 8.
08. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's when the PDK.
And that's when the economy went boo.
Right. Yeah. Not a lot of 08s actually. 997.1 is a great car, and something we were talking about just before the show is that there went through a lot of structural integrity differences with that car, majorly. I mean, it was a complete redesign of the car from the 996 generation, which I'll get into next. The 996 generation was the first water-cooled 911. And the 993 that you briefly mentioned was the last of the air-cooled 911. So the transition from the 993 to the 996, and a lot of, kind of like Porsche diehard people that have been with the brand since the beginning, were disgusted. Water-cooled 911, this is bull.
Since the beginning, you mean since the Volkswagen Beetle?
Sure, yeah. But the 997 is a fantastic car. And then actually the 997, it actually went back to a lot of, I should say design, or like design points of the 993. So there's almost like a skip from the 993. It's almost like you skipped the 996 and went into the 997 with some design features, not only in the exterior with the round headlights, but on the interior with the door pockets. The dash, like the dash pad actually was very similar to what 993s were.
Better quality and nicer interior design on the 997.
I think it was, yeah. I think it was just more familiar, to people that were already in the brand, before the 996 version. The 996, I mean, it changed a lot of things with the 911 for the better. So 997, awesome cars. I mean, they still had, a couple of their issues, here and there, like every other car does. But can't go wrong. I mean, 997s, I think, honestly, the most important key feature of a 997 911 is the sports chrono package.
Which we do have.
That's kind of that's
do have
that's
sport
kind of
chrono.
that's almost a must.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, people would start, arguing you have to have a full leather dash, because those were like, it is leather, like even the stamped stuff, but it's like pressed out, so it's really thin. And people started calling them like the rubber dashes. It's not rubber. It is leather. It's just like the lower grade leather, and that's why they stamp it. Like you roll it and stretch thin, and they stamp it because you can't see the imperfections, in the hide and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, not to go too deep that way. The 996, I think, is a very overlooked generation. And I do think it is a very undervalued generation. That car is also, so 996s are, at least in the US, from 1999 through 2005. In 2005, they were only making Carrera 4S's and Turbo S's, I believe. Because 2005 is when the 997 started. So that's an overlapping generation there. But the 996, it was designed, manufactured, built by the same Germans that built the cars before it and the cars after it. Without a doubt, that is pure 911, right? Everything about that car is Porsche 911. It was going through a different period of Porsche's life by doing a big transition. And so there was arguments, you couldn't tell the front end difference between a Boxster and a 911. And then when the second generation came out, the headlights changed and the front grills changed a little bit, that kind of stuff to give it a little bit of deviation there. But people weren't totally in love with the car that had been with the brand before. However, when you drive a 996, I think there's some of the best sounding 911s that are out there. More specifically, a 996 Carrera 4S, I think, is one of the best sounding 911s ever built.
Really?
Yep. There's something unique.
Stock exhaust.
Stock exhaust. Well, sport exhaust, but sport exhaust. There's something very unique. I don't know if it has to do with the shape of the car, but a Carrera 4S at that time was a wide body. You had to have the S to be the wide body. They didn't make a C2S. They only made Carrera 4S's. But that was the wide body car. There's just something, it just has this growl to the 996 C4S that I've never heard replicated, by another car. It's very unique. It's really cool. I think it's one of the best sounding 911s ever, if not the best sounding 911 ever.
You heard it here first.
That's right. 996 Turbo, where you're headed. My personal stance is I would take that car. I would take a 996 Turbo over a 997.1, and I would take it over a 968. Multiple factors there. A lot of performance, right? In
415 horsepower, same torque.
Yep. All-wheel drive.
Twin turbo.
Yeah, twin turbocharged. It is a GT car, right? A very capable GT car. It's very fast. It's very comfortable. It corners well. It does all of the sports car things, but it does all of it really, really good. There's no compromise anywhere in that car.
Yeah.
And to be frank with you, the maintenance is quite easy. The biggest pain in the rear on that car would be changing spark plugs, which you do every 30,000 miles. So not really that big of a deal. The 968, it's going to be a little bit of a maintenance hog, just because of the timing belt aspect, those kinds of things. Labor for that stuff really adds up.
Yeah.
No, the 996, I think and for being a manual transmission, the Achilles to the 996 would be the hydraulic rams for the rear wing. Yep. Yeah. So you'll see a lot of those are converted over to electric rams, which I think is totally fine. The what's called a clutch accumulator and slave cylinder for the clutch pedal. Those are known issues to fail on that car, which just gives it an extremely hard clutch pedal when the engine is off, or it'll create kind of this weird spongy kind of feel in the pedal.
Okay. So things to keep in mind. Look at the maintenance history and records.
Yep. Exactly.
What's the mystique of the Mezger engine? It came from the GT1 race car, and it's an iconic engine for Porsche.
Yeah, was it Hans? Was it Hans Mezger?
Hans Meska.
Mezger, yeah, who has passed away maybe within the last 10 years, I think is maybe. Yeah, I think it's just the design is super simple but incredibly durable. It was, taking where the crank, like, so there's 8. So for, I guess, the mechanical side of it, on a crankshaft, you've got like rod journals and then main journals. Rod journals are, rods, bearings, right? So there's 2 in a normal, say like in a Chevy 350, there are 2 rods connected to 1 journal. Mm-hmm. In a 911, it's 1 rod per journal. And then also in a, like, say, a Chevy 350, an 8-cylinder, you've got, I guess it would be a total of 5 main journals, main bearings, if you will. That's the center of the engine. That's what the crankshaft is laying in. Mm-hmm. In a 6-cylinder 911, you have 8. So it's built. It's if anything, it's like over engineered. Like, it's too strong, but yet very simple.
What about, I've heard there are issues with the coolant lines specifically, that those were some kind of adhesive. The coolant lines were put on with an adhesive rather than a actual physical fastener, so they can heat cycling that can wear those out, and the coolant lines can drop off, and people say, oh, you have to pin or weld the lines.
Yeah, that's more common in the 997 generation, like GT3s.
Oh, really?
That kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I haven't personally ever seen one fail.
Really?
Yes, in a 996 turbo.
Yeah. And you were a technician for many years, so presumably that would have been during the era when you were actually working on these cars.
Yeah,
regularly.
And that's something, as far as like pinning or welding or combination of coolant lines, is something that developed much later. That wasn't a thing, within the first 5-10 years, of that generation of car. Right. It came out much later. So yes, there was an adhesive, like a glue, that was holding these coolant lines into place. And if that were to fail when you were in kind of a performance setting, like on the racetrack, a lot of coolant would come spilling out. And it wasn't, I mean, obviously it could be harmful to the engine if you kept going, right. Just massively overheated it. But you're taking very slippery coolant and putting it on the road. And if you're on the racetrack, that's dangerous. Mm-hmm. So, there's people, that I have to have this done. Like me personally, it's kind of like talking about intermediate shaft bearings in 996s and early 997s.
Yeah.
There are signs for me that I would say, yes, I would want that done. And there's other things like, nah, I'll drive it. Mm-hmm. It'll be fine. But that's part of the experience of being around it, for so long. But 996 turbos, it's one of those bulletproof cars. Everything works, and it works well, and it's very comfortable. And the one thing, driving a manual, you just don't shift out of first gear too fast. You'll pop. There's like a little ball joint at the bottom of the shifter. They're designed to break away before you do damage to the transmission. But that's when people are like really getting on it, because it boosts quickly, and first gear is very, very short in that car. So people they pop it out of first. And when you pop it out of first, you can break that little plastic ball socket piece, and then you're just in neutral or whatever, or maybe in second if you got to it, and you can't change gear. So,
that could be
you leave the car, like where you are. And then if you're someone like me, I can fix it, there in 30 minutes on the spot. But if you're not someone like me, you get your car towed. It's not really that big of a repair, actually. So
the lesson there is shift into second pretty quickly.
Yeah, just get into second early. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't bang it out of first gear. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, 996 turbo, I don't think you can go wrong with that car.
All right. Yeah. It's interesting because I went on YouTube, and the PCA official YouTube channel, they do these sort of model overviews or buyer's guide videos. and they're actually really informative. It can be to the point where it might be a little boring for some people, but they go pretty in depth. And it was I was watching about 968 and about 996 turbos, and they had some really informative buyer's guide videos on there. So it's interesting that seems to be the common theme, is that 996 turbo is the way to go, and that's an experience that's very much worth having. And especially considering that, a good one is what, in upper 60s, low 70s, like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of car for the money.
All right, we're running long on time. So a couple real comments here. So 996 Total Fun by CS. I like that. So CS, I agree with you. Stephen H. 968 Club Sport versus 924 Carrera GTS Club Sport. Yeah, that's that's a different day, Stephen. We'll get to those cars that no one is ever around. And then Brandon, one more in there for you, buddy. He says, what other Porsche accounting can we do? It's great listening to. All right. I appreciate that.
You tell us, Brandon.
Do you have anything other real quick you want to touch on real fast? People are getting bored here. Let's see. Well,
People are bored.
we've been going. We're at an hour 6.
Geez.
Yeah.
Okay. Colorado Cars and Coffee. Sign up for the newsletter. Watch the Downshift podcast. Read Shift Magazine. Issue 11 is out now. Issue 12 is coming out in about 2.5 months. Oh boy. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. We have the summer event guide coming for you in about another month and a half. So keep your eyes peeled for that, covering all the hottest and most popular events of the summer. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got. Shout out to my dad if he's listening. I have to say, my dad has always been the biggest supporter of my writing and all the creative projects that I've entered and endeavored into over all the years of my life. So my mom as well. Both of my parents have been very supportive, but massive shout out and appreciation to the support for that. So that's all I got.
Awesome. Hope to see a ton of people here tomorrow for celebrating Shane Golden. And congratulations again to the Colorado Karting Circuit winners, especially to Connor Robin for being our platinum sponsor winner for the First Dibs podcast. And that's what we got. So for the First Dibs podcast from inside Porsche Colorado Springs, I'm Justin.
And I'm John.
Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Jason. I really appreciate it. Great conversation.
Thank you.
Everybody have a very fun